Access Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore, where the world of sports meets the mic and the hammer of the law.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of Hampton and Harris. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friend, J.D. Harris, John Harris, the one and only author of my favorite book, Tomlin, The Soul of a Football Coach. Hey, you can get this book anywhere. Make sure you get the updated edition because J.D. got some new stuff in there for you. And we may get to a little football before we get out of here, JD.
Yeah, no doubt.
Free agency going on.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about that. But right now, man, we're heading into the Final Four. I'm going to get my bracket together this weekend and do what I usually do, be out of it by the first round.
Dude, I don't even do it anymore. Yeah. I don't even do the bracket anymore because all I do is get mad. So I don't even do it anymore.
But I always enjoyed this time of year with college basketball. When I was a young reporter and worked in the South, I followed more college basketball than I did professional basketball because I was covering, college basketball. It's just the opposite now.
Yeah.
Been in Detroit these years, following the Pistons and the NBA, although Michigan's always had some, top-level basketball teams with Michigan and Michigan State and even Central Michigan for a while. So that has definitely hurt me when it comes time to do the brackets. I was a much better guy when I was younger because I saw the games more often. But it's a lot of fun nonetheless, man.
Yeah, I guess the trick is picking the upsets early because at the end of the day, most of the top seeds are always going to be there at the end anyway, right? But you got to pick those early. What was it, the 12-5? Is that the one? It's one of those matchups that there always seems to be an upset.
12-5 will get you. And nowadays with the three-pointer, man, I think, was it Purdue that went down a couple of years ago? Yeah, lost to the So, anything is possible. And, hey, I see people checking in. Welcome to Hampton and Harris. I'm Rickey Hampton with Bobbi Roquemore, sports attorney. Bobbi will probably be checking in with us a little later on this evening. Just tell you a little bit about John and I. We're both longtime sports writers and sports columnists. And as I said, JD is the author of Tomlin, The Soul of Black Folk. JD, I cannot wait to hold up my book, which will be coming out in a few weeks.
Yes.
Man, I tell you, it is the most wonderful feeling to be able to have that. That's going to be that long after we're gone, JD.
That's what I'm talking about.
Pick up that work and be able to read it. So that is cool. So if you got any questions and comments out there, please send them to us. If you got any thoughts about the NCAA tournament, we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into the NBA and Bam Adebayo's 83-point game the other night. I can't wait to talk about that, JD.
You mean Sham?
Yeah. So we'll get into that. But hey, you know what? John has used this system throughout his career. And John has covered basketball at the highest level, NBA, college, and even started out. You probably just from high school first coming out.
Oh yeah, that was the best. That was the most fun I had, man. It was covering this Kentucky State tournament. Oh, I loved it, man.
Oh my God,
Sweet 16.
Yeah. Well, you were covering big time basketball. You're covering Kentucky high school sports because basketball's crazy down there. But we're going to get into you've used a system now called Tendex. The Tendex rating system. You used it for more than 30 years, I believe, right?
Yeah, I'm almost scared to say that. 30 years, man. I'm really getting kind of old, dude, to even say that.
Well, you were 10 when you started using it, man. I'm going to throw up. We're doing a little abbreviated version of Tendex tonight as we talk about the NCAA tournament. And let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger for our viewers out there. Let's see. Yeah. I can't. Well, I hope you can see it. Michigan is the top-rated team in the country, barely over Arizona. Michigan has earned a 122.7 rating. Michigan ran through the tough Big Ten conference this year. Yaxel Lindenberg, a guy, JD, speaking of Tendex, this is a guy you were talking about 2 years ago before anybody knew who this guy was. And damn if he wasn't a Big Ten Player of the Year. That's a great example of the things that Tendex is able to see that a lot of people don't see.
Yeah, it's just I remember I was doing the ratings going into the NCAAs a couple of years ago. The thing about Tendex is it's the best players, their numbers jump off the chart at you because most ratings are kind of the same, similar. There's only a handful of ratings that you're like, wow. And, he was one of them. I had no idea who he was. I did a little research. He's actually from Jersey. I think he did the JUCO route for a while. Then he went to UAB, and then he thought about going NBA, and then went to Michigan, which seems to be a great decision on his part. But Tendex told me about him. I had no idea about the guy, and that's the beauty of Tendex.
It took us a year to learn to pronounce his name.
Yeah, we just getting it now, right? We ready for it now.
I'm still messing up. And actually, his Tendex rating was higher at UAB, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's still a very good player, but as we were saying before the show tonight, he had to do more. Shoot a little bit more, probably. He probably played more minutes because they have such a talented team in Michigan. He doesn't have to play major minutes every night, and still a very effective player. But we were saying they're going to need him to step it up to another level in the NCAA tournament. When the great players need to play great.
I think Coach Dusty May is about to unleash this guy when the tournament comes around. But hey, all that said, Arizona is sitting there at 122.2. Duke is the third team at 120.7, and Duke actually beat Michigan earlier this year. Do not sleep on the Florida Gators, sitting there at the fourth spot at 119.9. And I'm looking at, you had them 2 weeks ago, so nothing's really changed.
No.
Everybody's gone down a tick, but they're still the top four teams in the country. Well, actually, Florida has improved.
Florida's the only one of the four. They've gotten a little bit better. Yeah.
So does that tell you that they're peaking, Jake?
Yeah.
Like if you jump a point or two in 2 weeks,
that's a lot.
What is that big?
Better as playing better as a team, and usually it's harder now because now once you get into the conference tournaments, NCAA tournaments, you're playing better competition, right? So for your rating to go up now, it indicates you're really playing good. And not that these other teams are not playing well, but still Florida is continuing to get better. I think they had a really long winning streak. They're maybe the hottest team in college basketball. And remember, I think everybody forgot they won the national championship last year.
Right.
And it's almost like nobody even acknowledges that anymore.
Right. Yeah. So we got we got tournaments kicking off this week. The SEC tournament, I think they're down in Nashville.
Yeah.
Big Ten tournaments over in Chicago. So that'll be setting things up for this weekend. And in terms of top players, Tendex has a familiar last name to basketball fans, Cameron Boozer, who plays at Cameron Indoor Stadium for the Blue Devils, and is the son of uh, gosh, I forgot his dad's first name. Carlos. Yeah. Has the best 10-dex rating among college players.
And I promise next week, Rick, we will have a more complete list of the top 25 players, and we'll definitely do at least the top 16 teams going into the tournament. So I just wanted to, as we're in the conference tournament this week, I wanted to touch on the top teams, but next week we'll have a full list, and as well for the ladies as well.
Yeah,
and
and this will be fun to look at when the draft comes around too.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. The draft, we'll be able to do stuff that other people don't do when we go into the draft.
Yeah, and out of this four, you like Florida simply because they're ascending. They've been there, done that.
I think they've been under the radar. They've been under the radar all year, and I think the SEC. Way back when I covered the SEC back in the 80s and 90s, I thought the SEC was always an underrated basketball conference. It was always looked at, as a football conference.
Right.
And I don't think that's really changed that much. I think it's a great conference. They've got just really tough, brutal teams, man. Great basketball players. And, for so many years, Kentucky, dominated coming out of there now. And there are times now that Kentucky's just like an also-ran in the SEC. It's Bruno Vanderbilt's a team to watch going into the tournament. The SEC is loaded. It really is. I just look at Florida. I don't really know. It's so balanced this year. You could pick, just pick a team that could win it, I think. But Florida, based off of their track record, based off of last year, and based off of their hot streak, if I was going to have to pick one team, I would pick Florida.
And that said, JD, man, I'm looking. Duke is capable. Yeah. Michigan's capable. Florida's capable. Arizona. Michigan State, the way they played, now this was a rivalry game.
And they're dangerous. That's a dangerous team. Michigan State's very dangerous.
And Izzo is a tournament tested to UConn with their crazy call. He made Brett enough where they'll be scared to lose. Kelvin Sampson's one of my favorite coaches in college basketball at the University of Houston. So that's 8 teams that are certainly good enough to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, go back to Houston for a minute.
You got a chance to win, right?
Houston has been one of my favorite teams for a while now. I watched them play a couple of times this year, and I think it's interesting, because the talk was always that, they had, grinders, tough guy players. They didn't really have the elite. Well, now they're starting to get the elite guys. And it's funny now, it's a transition now. They're not, to me, they're still a great team, and they could win it all. They should have won it last year, right? They should have won it last year. That should have been Kelvin Sampson. But they've kind of traded off a little bit. They've kind of traded off a little offense. They're not as tough, intimidating. They were just fanatical on the boards the last few years. Real tough-minded, and they still are, but they're more offensive, more of an offensive finesse type team now.
And they weren't that big. Bobby, you know how to make an entrance. Let me tell you.
She does.
Uh-oh, what y'all doing?
We got to get you like an intro song or something when you come in here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by
pick up a song that you want. We're going to put a song on for you.
We're joined by our great friend.
Something with Bone Thugs or something like that.
Yeah, we need that. We need a little intro there. That'd be good.
We're joined by a great friend, Bobbi Roquemore, sports attorney, who works out of Houston and the Cleveland area. We were just talking about the Houston Cougars. And Bobby, I think that, first of all, I love Kelvin Sampson.
Yes.
He's my favorite coach in college basketball. And we were talking about their chances this year and just talking about the expectations he built with that program. Man, they're going to get after you and be physical. And I love all that, which makes them one of my favorite teams. Your thoughts on where they are this year and what Coach Sampson's been able to do?
Yeah, I mean, after reaching the final and the whole drama with the way the game ended in the final last year, it's kind of you can have a hangover a little bit, and I think maybe I think that might have come in the middle of the season during a rough stretch, but again, it's a culture thing, as you just stated. We all know Coach Sampson had some issues with the NCAA back in the day. Nowadays, that stuff would be legal. It's so funny. But he had to redeem himself and really rebrand himself, and he just found the perfect home. One of the things I recall reading about them is that they have a lot of their coaches in house, so like they don't take outside people, but a lot of the former coach, a lot of the assistant coaches or people around the program used to be there as players and things like that. So I think from a culture perspective, he's really built that program. And then just the victory today versus BYU. I mean, that's a tough opponent for what, the quarters or the semis I think we're in right now. But these mega conferences, I don't know how they do it nowadays. But I mean, it's just, it's a source of pride for the city of Houston as well, especially how they came back here in the second half and, won that game.
Calvin Sampson takes me back to the era when I was like really covering college basketball. He reminds me of the John Cheneys, John Thompson, Nolan Richardson. There are no coaches like that anymore other than him. Different era. They stood up for their players. They stood up for things what they thought was right. They stood alone a lot of times because they were out on the island by themselves, but they didn't really care. They cared about their kids, genuinely cared about them. He's from that era to me. He's from that. When I think about him, I think about those coaches, which is, I think, maybe one of the reasons why I have a special, fondness for the Cougars. Plus, Clyde Drexler for many years was my favorite player because when I was covering the NBA one time, I woke him up on the road and he actually talked to me for an interview. So he's always been my favorite player. And the Cougars they should have won at least one championship, right? They won 3 straight Final Fours. That team should have won at least one.
Yeah.
Great talent. Great talent.
Timing is everything.
No, go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, timing is everything, and the unique thing about college basketball is, Final Fours are the standard. Like it's a weird, like in other sports, championships, whereas Final Four in college basketball is like a big deal, almost like this little less than a championship. So I mean, he's just brought back that culture. And now, like I said, by beating BYU, I mean, they'll probably definitely a 2 seed, perhaps a 1 seed, depending on what else happens this weekend.
Yeah. Houston beat BYU today, 73-66. They actually trailed at halftime by 4, came back and outscored them 36-25 in the second half. The advance still had 26-5 for BYU, and Flemish had 17 for Houston. And Houston just, Bobby, and I was telling JD, I've seen a lot of them this year. They don't have one main guy. They just have guys. Am I correct?
Yeah, just from what just in the times that I've been able to see them and just following them, it just, again, that's the Kelvin Sampson culture way, of defense, focusing on defense and making sure that the right players have the ball in their hands at the right times. You have, like you said, so I think I have like 2 or 3 players who average double figures. Like, so you have like nobody over 20 though. You see what I'm saying? So, you have just the consistency throughout the roster.
Speaking of Duke, we mentioned Duke earlier. They barely hung on and beat Florida State today. So, tournament time, funny things happen tournament time.
Yeah, but my heartbreak. Yeah. My heartbreak with Miami of Ohio. No.
What I'm scared about, I worked in Toledo the last time 2 MAC teams went to the NCAA tournament. It was 1999. They actually played the tournament in Toledo then. Okay. And I think it was Miami and maybe Kent State went. Right. There have not been more than one team from the MAC going to the NCAA tournament since then. And I don't know. Hopefully Miami will get in. I'm a little fearful of them losing early, not losing the championship game. I hope they get in along with the championship. But it may not happen. The history is like they don't put two MAC teams in. I don't know why, but they don't like to do it.
Yeah, that's rough. Go ahead.
Hey, the Kent State team, didn't they have the brother from Detroit, the tight end?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Antonio Gates. Yeah. You had Zerbiak on Miami. You had
that was a great team. That Kent State team was tremendous.
He was killing folks.
They almost beat Michigan. And was it the Final Four? They almost beat Michigan in the tournament. They were a team. Yeah. They were really good. Their match back then was really good.
Mm-hmm. That has always been the fun part of the tournament. Bobby, we were talking earlier about some of the teams that are going to be strong in the tournament. Does any team stand out to you?
I mean, I just remember them saying it's going to be the Arizona Invitational or something, and that's back when they started out like gangbusters. Yeah. And, it looks like they're back on track. I mean, of course, sadly, North Carolina lost it. Sorry about that. And so North Carolina lost a key player, so that kind of ruins their chances. But yeah, I think Arizona looks very strong. I mean, to the point where I think Bryce James, LeBron's son, didn't even see the team, didn't even get to the floor. So that just tells you what kind of squad this is from top to bottom. I mean, you just can't, thank goodness the ACC is back, And then, of course, Michigan, Teton, as we call them, in Ohio, that team up north. It's a little less intense of a rivalry of basketball, but that's still that team up north. But they've done well. Right. And, Michigan and Michigan State are the gold standard of and Purdue. Are like the recent gold standard of, Big Ten basketball. I was disappointed. I thought Indiana would be better, more secure in their, team this year, but things happen. And of course, you can't ever count out the returning champs, Florida. You can't count them out.
We were just talking, and nobody talks about them.
Yeah.
No, nobody talks about Florida whatsoever.
Yeah.
We'll see that. We'll see, because as everybody knows, Sunday will be selection day. Shout out to the Tennessee State University Tigers, won their first OVC championship in basketball since 1993.
Wow, excellent. Congrats.
Yeah. And they, I actually got to see them play a little bit. They got a really good team. And I'm looking at this. This is a prediction bracket. And this one has Miami getting in as a 10 seed.
That'd be great.
Is one man's opinion here.
I think they'd be great as a first four. I mean, I think a lot of people would. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that. I said the minute they crossed 30 wins, they became a first four team. I can't have even Ohio. I can't have an 18-12 Ohio State team and a 30 and get in as a first four, but they don't. So either way it goes, I just wish because I know it was just so fun to see them. It was a lot of pressure. I mean, just trying to get, I saw that game last week, the 31st game or whatever, versus Ohio. That was tense. And I think, maybe now they can relax and, just try to see what they can do.
If they get in, that could be a good thing.
Yeah. Sure. And the thing that breaks my heart about that argument is Bruce Pearl, has been waving the banner. And he started as a mid-major team, as a mid-major coach. That's how he busted
chops.
That's how he got this far. So for him to be like that, it was kind of disappointing.
They lost today. I can't believe Auburn's going to make it. They lost in the SEC tournament. They can't.
Oh yeah, right. I would think about that. Yeah, you would see what. So Auburn's supposed to get in. His son's, coached by his son over Miami of Ohio. No.
Final 14 to that. Think about what a drop that's been, right?
Yeah,
that's a tremendous drop.
Yeah, I mean, which again is a credit to Florida and Houston and even Duke, to be back in the mix.
Exactly.
It's hard to maintain. Mm-hmm. It's hard to maintain because I'm telling you now, this is a very difficult time. It's free agency in college sports every year. You recruit the guys, now you got to re-recruit them. As you guys know, my son coaches small college basketball. He's trying to recruit his core guys right now for next year. They had a good year, so what can I do over here? Man, you need to make those decisions wisely because a lot of guys jump in there and then end up going nowhere. And guys get in there and get in situations that they don't know, that doesn't work out for them. So, but I get that whole thing, and I'm all for them being able to do their thing. Any other thoughts about March Madness being here? Because we got a little subject we need to get to in the.
I wonder what that is.
Yeah. To our viewers out there, we had a great discussion text-wise. We should just put that out there. The text was so good. What's the other one?
Oh yeah, just like I said, this is my favorite time of the year. This is what got me into sports. Like as I was developing, my interest in sports, the Cleveland State, the first Cinderella, they beat the Cleveland State beat Indiana, so that would be 86. Yeah, 86. So that was how many years? 40. It was 40 years ago in this time.
What was it?
Cleveland State University Vikings, seeded as a 14, beat the Indiana Hoosiers.
Was Raleigh coaching them?
No, actually, it was Kevin Mackey.
Yeah.
Kevin Mackey. We had the Mouse McFadden.
But did Raleigh end up going there?
Yeah, he ended up. I think Cleveland State ended up making the NIT with him. And they had some competitive years, but that's when the tournament had first expanded to 64 teams in 85 the year before, and of course you had Villanova with the big upset of when Raleigh was coaching Villanova. That was the big upset of Georgetown. That was the first year they had 64 teams, but obviously it was a lower seed, like a 3 and a 14, a 5 and a 12. That had never happened until the following year, 1986.
I think damn near anything is possible now. But I do want to get to this conversation regarding Bam Adebayo. Tuesday night he went off. I guess. Mm-hmm. Well, put it like this: Bam Adebayo had 83 points against the Washington Wizards.
Mm-hmm. Did you say Washington Generals or Washington Wizards?
Yeah.
They always be the Bullets to me. Wes Unseld. I guess, like I said, I'm stuck in the 80s.
Was Red Klotz out there on the court? You remember Red Klotz? Bald-headed guy, little short guy that used to shoot 3-pointers. He was the only one that was really playing on the Generals. He's the only one that was like trying to be serious.
I thought maybe it was the Anacostia High School junior varsity that was playing that night. But we all agree Bam is a good player, right?
Yes.
Bam he's a quality player that anybody would like to have on his team.
Oh, he was in the Olympics, right? He was in the Olympic team, wasn't
he? Yeah, Bam was not a guy that go out and get 83 points, and a guy that you got to foul like 43 times. I don't care. I'm not even concerned about what Kobe did and what Will did. I, I don't see how you fouled Bam 83 times, unless it's the Washington Generals on an Anacostia junior varsity basketball team.
I thought, to me, if I was the owner of the Washington Generals, I would have fired the coach after that. He wouldn't have gotten on the plane going back wherever they were going. He would have had to catch Spirit or something and go home.
Damn, you gonna put him on Spirit, man?
Yeah, he was not coming back with the team. No, that was disgrace. I'm sorry. 88 is a tremendous player. You know, it wasn't Bam. To me, it wasn't Bam. It was Washington. But Washington's been tanking all year anyway. That's what makes it bad, and that's what's hurting the league. This imagery of teams now that are trying to lose, you know, a la the 76ers a few years ago, so they can get the number one pick, even though I don't know if they know what to do with it if they got it anyway, and not putting any effort. And then at the end of the game, the fouling. They're fouling everybody but Bam. The Heat players are purposely missing the shots. And then then the Heat players are fouling the Wizards players. It was like a comedy of errors. The final few minutes, they were winning by 25 or 30 points. I mean, the game was over at halftime. It was just, I was shocked that Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, that were really a party to this, to be honest with you. Their reputations to me are of going along with this was just, I don't know. It is what it is. There's been a lot of pushback on it. Life goes on regardless.
But here's what Eric Spoelstra said. I apologize to absolutely no one.
And I don't apologize. And so do I. I don't apologize either. And I have several reasons, neutral basketball reasons and personal reasons. First of all, I was skeptical, because of, like I said, sometimes TV watches me, and they said Bam Adebayo has 43 and a half. That was the first indication, that something big was happening. Okay, so obviously now it's Bam watch, about just like with Myles Garrett and the sack record, in football. It became like this thing where they, we were watching it. And so I did not see the actual game, but I did see a compilation put together by NBA League Pass the following day, about 7.5 minutes long, of the key moments in that game. And that's when I became convinced. He did it by threes. He did it with just regular, pick and roll, type passes. And then he actually stole the ball in the backcourt and ran it in for a layup. That means he's playing defense. That means, let's not, this wasn't given to him. Secondly, then I went back and watched the Kobe highlights from his game. I forget the year, but it was called by the late, great Stuart Scott. And so they had a 2-minute compilation of Kobe's game. That was a more competitive game. But see, Kobe had to bring his team back, but they were still up by 18 points. And Bam's team was up by 21 points when he scored the 81st point or 83rd point. So there wasn't really a big difference. They were doing the same thing. We just may not remember the specifics of Kobe, but that's going back and looking at it. I said, oh, they were up by about the same amount. It reminds me of the argument that people were having a couple months ago with James Madison and the other team. They got blown out by such and such. It was the same amount of points that Ohio State blew Tennessee out. Basically, my point is, it was the same thing going on at the end of the game with Kobe that it was going on with Bam. And so, therefore, it was good for the goose. It was good for the gander. I understand, Kobe has gone on to glory, and it's a little more personal to some people. But Bam earned that from the first point, just because he's not known as an offensive player and that he's a center, which means, guess what? I played in the post. Okay, you have to receive the ball and you go up and you get fouled. That's kind of what happens when you're a post player.
Yeah.
And unlike some post players, he's a good free throw shooter. Unlike Wilt was, believe it or not, Wilt should have had 120 probably. From the way that, you know what I'm saying, technically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't a good free throw shooter, so let's not blame. We have a center. Do we have centers, like really real centers in real life? Bam is a center. He's not going to get his own shot. He has to get the ball from other people. So yeah, he's going to get the ball from other people, and they're going to foul him in the post. That's what happens.
But if you're right, he's a center. See, I kind of hate this because I don't want to be critical of Bam. If they're going to give it to me, I'm gonna take it because I got much respect for his game. Nonetheless, he is a center. He's a good physical player, but he's not a cat that's so unstoppable that you got to foul him to the point he takes 43 free throws.
Wilt never shot 43 free throws. How is he going to shoot 43 free throws?
Wilt was a grown man.
Come on.
Shaq was a grown
43
man.
free throws. No one's ever shot that many free throws. He averages under 5 free throws a game. That's crazy.
And in this day and time, I'm with you, JD. And in this day and time, where everybody looks at the integrity of the game because of all these gambling issues, you don't think some people were like, what the hell? If you had the over on Bam the other night, I mean, right. You hit the damn jack.
Yeah, we need to check what the action was like on that night to see what the action was like, man.
I mean, but what I'm saying is, just he came out of the gate that way. And sometimes it's just like your night. Well, like Super Mario Brothers, when you got this magic pill and the mushroom or whatever, and you just, go off for like a minute. He just had an extended period where he was just going off. And I'm like I said, that got my attention, when he first got 43 and a half. And again, just, I highly recommend watching that compilation because, again, I was skeptical because I heard a friend, of course, an LA friend who was like, they were like giving him the ball and fouling him. And then I said, let me go see this myself. And then once I saw it, and once I got them two numbers together, 18 and 22 or 21, basically the same thing that was going on at the end of Kobe's game was the same thing that was going on at the end of Bam.
But when Bam goes off, he gonna get 35 or 40. That's the kind of play. The Joker, he goes off, he might get 50. LeBron in his prime, he goes off, he gonna get 50. I just don't. Look.
That night, I saw the compilation.
He was 20 or 43. He didn't shoot great. He was 20 or 43 from the field.
Yeah,
that's not great. He took 43 shots. He made 20 of them.
And Kobe was just over 50%. Yeah, that's fine.
He was under 50%.
No, I'm talking about when Kobe did his thing. And Bam shoots, he was shooting threes because that's what big men do nowadays. Again, that's a new thing for me. With every moment for the Cavs, it's just different.
But he was like 7 or 22.
I know.
And Kobe, now we know Kobe likes to put it up now. Kobe never met a shot.
But he's a guard. But he's a guard. He controls the ball. Yeah. Bam does not. He had to depend on his
point. That is
right. But he got the ball and he got fouled because he was overmatched. He overmatched players in the paint. That's what happens when you play in the paint. I've played in the paint. I've had to foul, because I was this girl who was 6'3" who went to Vanderbilt. I had to play against her. Sometimes you get overmatched.
We got to talk about that. Nashville's my hometown. But you know what? JD hit it at the beginning. This is really on the Wizards or the Generals. And
I'm calling
the Generals for the rest of the year.
I'm not calling the Wizards anymore. They're the Generals.
They were overmatched. But to say that they were fouling on purpose, they were just overmatched.
But they've been tanking on purpose all year. That's the problem. The NBA has an image problem right now.
Yes.
And this game did not help that. This has been a really bad year for the commissioner. He's been horrible anyway. This has been a horrible year for him. But go back to Kobe for a second. The year that he got the 81, earlier in the year, I heard it was a game against the Mavericks. He had like 62 at the end of 3.
Right.
And Phil Jackson said, "Hey, you want to go back in?" He said Brian Scott, one of the assistants, and he said, "Hey, you want to go back?" He said, "No, we got this. It's over." They wanted him to go back in. This was a Dallas team that ended up actually going. They went to the finals that year. So he didn't. But now later in the year, he got 81. They were down, and he got that. Compare that to with Bam wasn't in the game. The 2:55 left. Spoelstra put him back in the game.
Okay.
And they're up by 25. Come on. I mean, that just. I'm sorry. He had 70.
Now that is
the game. And then they brought him back in. Then that's when they started doing the intentional fouling to get him the more free throws. That's, to me, I agree with you. He had a great night, but just the way things happen, it just looks shady, and it doesn't help the NBA's image when you got Steve Kerr howling about let's reduce the number of games. We're playing too many games when everybody's doing load management anyway. Yeah. What do you need? What do you got to reduce games? Nobody's playing 82 games. Who's going to play 82 games this year? Nobody. They're missing 10, 15, 20 games anyway. So why would you reduce the number of games? There are so many things the NBA. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Magic City fiasco.
Right.
I mean, NBA is not doing many things right this year. Questioning the All-Star game, the effort. There's a lot of negative stuff and negative energy with the NBA right now. This did not help that. It's a lot. This is not. Bam is just one example of a really bad season for the NBA.
And now that's one of the actually bright spots was, like I said, the All-Star game. That was a great. I mean, the ratings were high, the effort was there. People were, wanting to come back in the game. You know what I'm saying? It was a great format. So that was one of the positive things for the year. But yeah, I remember seeing a graphic saying that the bottom 10 teams had all lost 10 in some ridiculous graphic, saying how the bottom 10 teams all had a combined 40 losses in a row or something like that. Yes, it is a bad look, in terms of the overall product. I'm just grateful that my team is on the other end of that and we're not that way anymore. But I can't imagine what it's like being, one of those other teams that is tanking, and, especially after what happened with the 76ers. That was just, I don't know what that was about. And they got Embiid, bless his heart. He just stopped playing after the MVP. He got the MVP and just said, I just come whenever. But it's funny. We said that it's funny. My sister and I, we were talking about this, years ago over breakfast with my young nephews. Now they're grown. But how they should have 68 games in a playing tournament. We said this years ago. But yeah, it's too much. I mean, and this is a personal thing, but like the other day, because we have season tickets to the Cavs, I didn't even realize that one of our games was on the calendar, and so it ended up not being sold or given away. What I'm saying is there's so many games, it's hard to keep up with sometimes.
Straight up missed it, yeah.
It's just hard. And we have a half season.
Don't get me wrong. There's positive things going on, but there's something tonight that could happen with Oklahoma City and Boston, which may be a finals preview, but also Shea Alexander-Gilgeous, he could break the record tonight of 127 consecutive games of 20 points or more. And the one he tied it on, to me, goes back to our point. It was a close game. He hits 2 game-winning shots at the end. His record came amongst all of that. That's, what I'm saying? That gives special meaning to a game. Last second shot. Right. He ties the record. I think people get more out of that than what we were talking about earlier. So that is a positive. They do have they have great players, great young players, great young teams. San Antonio Spurs. The future in that regard is bright for the league.
Right. I don't know
figure out how to stop, stepping on their own feet on some of the other stuff.
Right. I don't know a player besides Fox and what's his name? I think DeRozan still playing. No, he got traded to Sacramento for Fox. I think I know 2 players on the Spurs. It's, Wemby and Fox, and I think that's it. I barely even know who the coach is after Pop.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
Saying?
I have no idea who that guy is. I've never heard of him before.
Again, shout out to them, and they passed Houston. They pretty much. I mean, it was a brutal game the other night.
Yeah, Houston. I don't think they have. We thought they had it. They don't have it.
Yeah, long
There's something missing. I think it's the point guard, but Van Vliet got hurt.
Yeah, it's showing up now. Yeah,
they don't have a point guard.
Yeah, it was easy to get away with that in December and January, but not now.
Well, they got what Wemby. They got Fox, De'Aaron Fox, really good player. Don Hopper, freshman, rookie, who's a really good young player. Bassel, who was a rookie of the year.
Castle,
who was he was a rookie of the year. So that's a good young team there. Harrison Barnes is on that team, a good veteran guy. So, and they have matched up well with San Antonio. I mean, with Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. But think about this.
They dominated them this year.
Yeah, but Oklahoma City really hadn't had their squad together since what? Since November, maybe. Mm-hmm. Somebody's been down. No,
they're incredibly deep. They're incredibly deep. They have been building their bench. If they ever get if they get them all back, they'll be dangerous. I mean, but they have developed their bench. A lot of young players have gotten a lot of incredible quality time, and they've been able to make. They're not going to have the break Golden State's record like everybody thought at first, but they're still going to be there at the end. And their bench is 10 deep, 11 deep. It's incredible how deep their bench is. And I would love to see OKC and San Antonio. That would be an unbelievable series.
Who's the kid they got from Philly?
McLean, he's been great. The guard.
McLean, right?
Yeah. He's been tremendous.
Yeah. Philly just like, you're a good player, so we don't want you. Like, come on, brother.
Yeah, that was a stupid trade.
What are we doing?
That was a stupid trade.
Yeah, what are we doing? So, that's in the West. Yeah, over here in the East, man, it's going to be interesting. Now that Jason Tatum is back,
Jesus,
and I hadn't seen him yet. I'm gonna try to watch some of this game tonight, but it looks like he's picking up where he left off. Maybe a little rusty. They are playing well. The Pistons had a little slide, because they won 2 straight since then, and they are up 4 games in the loss column on Boston. Cleveland, I thought was dangerous. They lost the other day, but they're still a dangerous team, and so are the Knicks. Well, not so much for me. A lot of people like the Knicks, not so much for me. So that's a big 4 over there in the East, and
don't in Carolina. I'll tell you, Charlotte, dangerous first round.
Charlotte is playing very well. Yes.
Dangerous first round opponent. They're not going to win it, obviously, but they can knock somebody off if they make it in the first round. They got
Charlotte has the best record since the All-Star game. Charlotte has the best record in the league.
That's a team to watch. Next year, I mean, they're going to be right there. They got some good young talent.
Yeah, and the Magic have come back. I saw them last night. I mean, it was just like, wow, this was like a totally different team. You know what I'm saying? It was just weird, And again, people go through slumps and ups and downs, but Carroll looks like he's back on track. And De Silva, I kept, how you keep hearing the name, like over and over, and I'm like, De Silva.
I question some of the Pistons fans. The Pistons lost 4 straight. Oh, what are they doing? I'm like, dude, they're in first place, and they ain't got no business being in first place, having the best record in the East. Y'all need to calm down, and you're still up 4 games. I mean, the expectations that's been put on this team, they probably don't pay any attention to it whatsoever. But there are going to be people here, if they don't win the title, oh, man, what are they doing? They don't know what they're doing. I'm like, dude,
That's
Same
crazy.
thing with the Lions. I mean, then we go through this last year with the Lions. You know, it's just like, I mean, you're happy to see Detroit back. You know, so it's like, yay. You know, same thing, football, basketball, and then of course JB. You know, the way that whole thing happened. Somebody even suggested that Dan Gilbert put in a call to make sure JB got hired. You know what I'm saying? Just, I mean, like I said, it was an amicable. It was just him and Donovan didn't get along. You know, that was just one of those things.
Was that what that
was? I think, yeah, as far as the defense, because he's his daddy's son, he's Bernie Bickerstaff's son. JB wants defense, a lot, and I think after that,
yeah, he does that now.
So it's just, so again, he's the right guy, but he got that he got the Cavs going post LeBron. It was the right guy at the right time. Same thing with Detroit, except Detroit had Cade Cunningham, which sped things up a little bit more.
Yeah, he's been outstanding, and so has Jalen Durham. Man, he is a grown man.
Where did he play college? Where did he play it? I don't even know who he is.
He played at Memphis for years.
Okay.
When you ask what college he played at now, you got to get a notebook out, man. He was at Duke. He was but he was just at Memphis for a year.
Okay.
He's only like 22, 23 years old.
Wow.
He's a Philly guy, John.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's a Philly guy, and he came back to Philly last during off season and worked with Rasheed Wallace, who was his assistant coach at Memphis, and
he wasn't
for kind of polishing his game up. Man, this has been a fast hour. We just got a couple of more minutes. Anybody got anything else on your mind? Hey, everybody out there, if you got any questions or comments right quick, get them in because we're going to have to get out of here in a couple of minutes. Anything on your mind, JD?
Well, you said we might want to touch on anything in free agency, NFL, that stands out. Yeah.
Max Crosby.
Yeah, that was a
got that,
interesting
development. Got that bum knee. And then we ended up going to he got traded to where? Baltimore.
Well, but then there was an update where he got Baltimore backed out of the deal.
Right, he went to Baltimore, and now who has?
Back to the Raiders. Yeah, and then they signed Trey Hendrickson, like after.
That's who they got.
Yeah, and I mean, Baltimore has not been a favorite team of mine, and I even gave them grace last year or last season when they were reporting about how Lamar was a full participant at practice, even though he wasn't a full participant, but he fully participated. I said, okay, that's an intern making a mistake. All right. This sounds so shady. It sounds so ratbird. That's what we call them in the AFC North, the ratbird, the pigeon.
But you know what?
And I'm just kind of tired of it because if it was the Browns, it would be something totally different. But they seem to be able to get away with this kind of stuff.
Jenny, did you have a free stay? Because I want to go back to college for a second.
Go ahead.
But I did not know you were a Vandy alum. So you were there when they weren't very good.
Oh no! I was saying she went to Vanderbilt.
Oh, okay.
The woman that I play, the 6 foot, I'm
okay. The bunch of guys.
Yeah, but yeah, she was. Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Pat Summitt. They would come to Cleveland all the time to recruit Garfield Heights Trinity. That was the name of the school, Trinity High, and they produced Samika Randall, WNBA players. Yeah. So anyway, that was the thing. But yeah, Vanderbilt. Yeah, she went to Vanderbilt when Vanderbilt was Vanderbilt.
Hey, speaking of, we need to get in this next week, Bob, and kind of lean on you with these negotiations with the WNBA.
Okay, I'll do some.
And a lot of people think that the ladies might be blowing this opportunity. If I ask it for too much, I heard one guy say they got to remember it's the WNBA and not the NBA, with all due respect. So we'll see. I'll send you some stuff on it. We'll look at that and discuss that.
Okay.
Next week. because you hope, because they have women's basketball has really picked up momentum. And if they go out on strike, I mean, that would be disastrous, right? So
yeah, there has to be another way. I mean, we talk about, not problems, but issues with the men's game. The ladies play. We play. We competitive. It is,
right.
it is what it is. So I really hope that this can be worked out. And that they're getting the right advice. Sometimes you can get the wrong advice, and you want to, get your employer to get you more things. And again, there were some ridiculous things that were going on. But again, you have to have the revenue to get the revenue.
Yep.
Just like NFL players had to gradually get things because, it wasn't always as big of a league as it is now. But now it's ridiculous.
I think the WNBA came in 1998, I believe. And my good friend Pam McGee from Flint, Michigan, who used to play ball with us at the wide noon ball with us, and we see Pam come in. We got Pam. I got Pam. Pam coming in, destroy you, man. But anyway, this is the first year. Pam was like the number 2 pick in the WNBA that year. Think about her son ain't got nothing on her. She the one championship.
Oh, JaVale, yeah, he's overseas now, I think.
Yeah. But this is the first year the WNBA has made money. So, we'll look at that. But hey, we do got to get out of here. I don't want to take up our next show's time. From my great friend J.D. Harris, Bobbi Roquemore, Rick Hampton. Peace, everybody. See you next week.
See ya.